everyone, and this is my practitioner's guides to supporting clients to find a holistic practitioner. So as regulated professionals, we know that sometimes evidence-based treatments do not fit everybody at one particular time, and many people are now using either a mix of the mainstream and holistic practices, but also sometimes just holistic. They're going totally effectively off-grid to find practitioners to work with to heal them. So, and I'm using that term heal them very loosely, and I'll go into a bit more detail, but I wanted to do this video just to support the regulated professionals who aren't, I suppose, very in touch with what there is out there and what the situation is with holistic practice right now. So firstly, I will say that holistic practices are not regulated. Some are coming into regulation now, but not all, and very few are. There are lots of alternative therapies and complementary medicines which are regulated. So it's always worth checking when you're supporting somebody to find a holistic practitioner, or if they're just sort of discussing it with you, to find out, ask them the question, is it a regulated profession? Because, it might be, and you might not be aware of it. So firstly, I would say is really support the client to understand what it is they're hoping to achieve. What does the client want or need? What do they want support with? What are they hoping for from that relationship with a holistic practitioner? Greet their inquiry with an open mind. I think from my own personal and professional experience, when you start speaking to people about holistic practice, and they're sometimes very quick to kind of brush it away as if it isn't anything, but actually many of these practices are very effective, whether there is an evidence base or isn't. And let's face it, the evidence base is quite flawed for many things, because the holistic practices aren't going to be funded like pharmaceuticals are, and like the bigger treatments like CBT and DBT are. So let's just greet with an open mind and inquire, ask questions rather than give judgments on what we're hearing, which I know is something that we're all trained to do, but sometimes we are very quick to give a response. Even if it isn't a verbal response, it could just be a physical response that somebody witnesses, and that's enough for them to stop talking to us. And it's really important that we keep this conversation open so that we can support people. So I think the other thing to remember, not the first thing, so I've said quite a bit already. The other thing to remember is that most of our regulated professions started holistically. Like, these are holistic practices that over time have become more and more and more regulated until it has become a very sort of paper-based exercise. So whatever somebody is looking to go and experience, maybe they will be in the same position as us in like 30, 40 years time. Who knows? So yeah, greet with an open mind and inquiry. So encourage and educate the client about how to choose somebody to work with. Because, when they come to practice with us, often they don't get a choice of who they are working with. So if you're in education, you don't get to choose who your teacher is. If you come into healthcare, you don't necessarily get to choose who your GP is, or who your nurse is, or who your physio is, or who your occupational therapist is. You tend to be allocated to people that can do the job in the right area. So it's a bit of a kind of minefield in a way when people are given that choice to go and look elsewhere to find somebody, and it can be overwhelming. And often in holistic practice, it can be the person with the most social media presence, which doesn't mean that they are the best person for that individual who's looking for support. So check out the ethics in the work that they do. Ask your client to check out the ethics. Do they know about consent? Are they trauma informed? Do they look at contraindications? Do they look at health problems that might be a contraindication for their particular practice? If something doesn't work with that particular practitioner, will they refer on, or will they just hold that person there? So it's worth just having a check out around all of that. If or when your client chooses a practitioner, check it out with them. Have a look, have a look at the person's website. Maybe be on a call with the client if they're happy for you to do that with them, so that you can really find out as much as you can about what is happening and what the practitioner is, what they do. Also to educate yourself in the practice they offer, because there's so much out there. Many holistic practitioners offer the more practice. So obviously, I'm a registered mental health nurse, but I also offer conscious connected breathwork. I'm fully trained and insured for that. I'm also an Earthlight Reiki practitioner, and many of the other practitioners in my holistic health practitioner collective offer 2, 3, 4 practices that each complement one another, including nutritionists as well. Nutritionists seem to be diversifying because they recognise that it isn't just you can't just look at one part of a person. You need to look at the whole person to offer them the best possible solutions or possible solutions to what they're experiencing. And yeah, just to finish and say, I was just reading my notes actually, that there's already so much judgment about using these practices. So please work with the client and work with the practitioner. If the practitioner contacts you asking for information about the client, and the client has given consent for you to do that, then please do that. Let's really collaborate. We can only really collectively improve health if we collaborate. So that's what this is about. Thank you so much for listening.